Think Business. I am Ruben Okala, welcoming you to this week's edition of Agri-Business Template, when we talk nothing but agriculture. And as you can see behind me, today we are discussing fish production. And our man, Emmanuel Udo, will lead us into that discourse.
Before now, fishing was only known and practiced by men who go out to the river to cast their nets or throw lines to catch fishes. However, with improved technology and research, the breeding place of fish has been taken away from the river, the ocean, and the sea. Fish can now be farmed even in a basin, depending on what the fish farmer wants to achieve. Is it for subsistence or commercial use?
So a friend told me that we could indulge into fish farming. And I said, wow, I'm even good in keeping chickens. So why don't we just do the both? And I said, there are too many losses in chicken. So there is no way we can come into it. Let's start with fish. So there's a pond over there, which we started with. It was a capacity of 150 fish then. So which we grew into 600. We now know that is the capacity at which the pond can consume. So from there, we're able to build this one that is standing over here.
Nigeria is blessed in these natural resources with riverine states like Akwa Ibom, Bayelsa, Delta, Edo, Cross River, Lagos, Kogi, Benue, with enormous potentials to meet the fish need of Nigerians.
We have a lot of water body in this country, Nigeria. River Niger is there, Upper Niger River Basin is there, Lower Niger River Basin is there. All these ones, we can harness them together in order to have enough fish to feed this country.
Fish is also found in abundance in states like Borno and the Lake Chad Basin, Kaduna, Niger, to mention but a few. Despite these potentials, Nigeria still depends on imported fish to meet the need of her people, with countries like Norway, China, Japan, and some African nations like Gabon being their good sources. Now, how does the nation close the gap in the fishing sector, given the fact that fish is highly recommended for food?
We have been already telling the younger ones that there's a lot of potential in fish farming. And we want to advise even the government, the federal government, the state government, and the local government that there's a means you can pull off these boys out of the road by training them on how to fish. Fish farming, you start with a little money and you can grow on your own. You don't need to be going for white-collar jobs.
In the case of agribusiness, when you have to do fish farming, you can harness any water to culture your fish. Artisanal is there, industrial fishing is there, and aquaculture is there. The one you asked me is all about aquaculture. So any container, you can use it to culture your fish right there in your backyard. Believe me, there's money in the mouth of the fish.
The program is still Agri-Business Template, where we say everything about agriculture. Let's take a break. We'll be back in a jiffy. Don't go away.
Are you in agribusiness? Is your farm performing below expectation? Are you experiencing difficulties with your farm? Does your agribusiness idea need finance? Zisak Farms Consult is a solution. Visit our office at Suite 8 Sheraton Hotel, Abuja. For more inquiries, you can call 070-6280-0576 or 080-6543-2360. You can also send us an email, zisakfarms@gmail.com. Zisak Farms Limited, bridging the gap in agribusiness.
Welcome back. This is still Agri-Business Templates, and on our discussion today, we're going to be talking about fish farming. How lucrative is fish farming business? Can one make business out of fish? And how can one start fish farming in Nigeria? These and more are the questions we'll be answering on this discussion segment. Welcome. To help in the discourse today is Mrs. Sin Ibrahim, the CEO of Heli One Farms. Madam, welcome to the program. And also Mr. Ofamata Vitalis, Manager Operations, Heli One Farms. Welcome.
Thank you, sir. Welcome.
All right. Madam, what does it take to engage in fish farming business?
In every business, you need dedication. You need to know what you're going into. Basically, I'll call it, you need the knowledge. You need to have an idea of what it takes to start. You need to know how much it will cost you. You need to know as a business person how much you'd get at the end of the day. What time do you have to dedicate yourself to that business? And bringing it down to fish farming, I think, not thinking, but it's something that you need to know about it. You need to know about fish. You need to know, how do I start it? Do I want to start from juveniles?
Okay.
Fingerlings? Do I want to start to just...
Or you want to even study it first?
Study is the best thing to do in every business. If it's fish, cats, dog, if you don't study it, then you're risking it. And I think basically under agriculture is something that money comes in, but you need to know how the money will come in.
Okay.
And for Nigerians, at this time where agriculture is speaking louder than any other thing in income.
I like that. Right now, agriculture is speaking louder.
Yes.
Because petroleum, we're not sure when it will dry up the way they say it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, so it's speaking louder now in terms of income. One should be interested in agriculture.
Okay.
Narrowing it down to fish farming. But I would say that no one is left out. Youths, students, adults,
okay,
public servants.
Let me get to you. How did you start this fish business?
Wow. My story is interesting.
Go ahead.
Okay, as a copper, I was interested. I was reading, learning about it, just in...
Did you read agriculture?
No, I didn't.
Okay, go ahead.
I didn't. And then gradually, after school, I got a job with public servant, as a public servant. And at that time, they don't pay you for 6 months. I think 5-6 months, and you're just waiting for salary. And I was posted out of town. I was in Kefi, and I was staying here in Abuja, so I had to always move from here to Kefi. But the funny thing was that when I got my salary for like 4 or 5 months, and I was asking myself, what will I do with this? And I was coming back from work, and I looked, and we saw there was vast land. And my mom was working in one of the villages, and I would get interested, and I see what they were doing. I was like, acquire land, start up with fish farming. Okay. And since there was water, the stream, it was passing. And so it started. Fortunately, it was so cheap, able to acquire like 2 hectares. And then friends were buying, people I knew I'd introduced a lot. But at the stage, I was like, what will I do with this farm? So they sold it back.
Okay.
So I was able to get land. And then I was able to start bit by bit.
That is in Nasarawa State?
Yes, in
okay.
Wuke, Nasarawa State.
Okay.
And so they were helping me out, and they were teaching me more of the local way of fish farming.
That's right.
And I was getting curious, and I was learning the modern way of fish farming. And I stumbled into hatching.
Okay.
And I discovered if a fish weighing like 2 to 3 kg can give me 60 eggs, how do I multiply it? Because the fish in the stream will soon finish.
That's right. Who says so?
I was thinking aloud, like, the fish will soon finish. Everybody's catching. So right. I think I should find, just buying fingerlings, juveniles was too much money for me. And I was sharing my time. And the beautiful thing, the government now gave approval for public servants, civil servants to go into agriculture. Okay. So it was a beauty adventure. I was training myself. I was reading aloud. And then I just got it so interesting, and now at this stage...
And as you see what the Lord has done.
Yes.
What are the different stages to bring out complete fish?
Okay, the very first thing is you have to identify your parent stock or your brood stock. Now, it's always a problem. Because if you get the wrong brood stock, you don't get results. And on the average, the brood stock should be at least, for the female, 3.5 kg and above to get good and matured eggs. And they should have an age bracket of 2 to 3 years. to get very good matured eggs. So when you identify your broodstock, the male and the female, for the male is 2 to 2.5 kg for the male broodstock, and for the female is 3 to 3.5. So when you get your broodstocks, the next line of action is insemination, and that is done by isolating the female in the tank. Then you now induce. You use either the artificial method, which is the oviparine injection, which you can get in the market, or you can use from the pituitary gland of the male. You induce your female fish. When you induce, after 12 hours, the female is ready to drop the eggs. So within the 12 hours, you have to make sure the room is dark and the temperature is stable and constant. When this is done, at the expiration of the 12 hours gestation period, you can now spawn the eggs. This is done by manually pressing the stomach of the female broodstock to bring out the eggs, after which you kill the fish.
You kill the fish?
Yes, the male broodstock.
Okay.
To bring out the sperm, the sperm cells.
It's like sacrificing the male fish.
The male has to sacrifice the lives for the offsprings.
All right.
So when this is done, you now carefully extract the sperm cells from the male productive parts and now use to fertilize the eggs.
Okay.
After this is done, you can now spawn the eggs on the spawning nets, which is already sterilized in the spawning tanks. After this is done, you will now have to isolate the hatchery for 24 hours, 24 to 48 hours. Nobody enters, no vibrations, just make sure everywhere is serene and dark.
Okay.
When you, at the end of 24 hours, when you come in, you observe that the fries have started dropping from the eggs.
Okay.
Then you have to give them time, after which you now remove the spawning nets carefully to avoid the damaged eggs from mixing up with the fries. Because if it does, at times it could lead to infections.
Yeah.
So when that is done, you now allow the fries for 3 days without feeding. Within these 3 days, they gain their strength before they can now start swimming. Because if you feed them at that time, the feed might kill them. So to avoid mortalities, it's advisable you leave the fries for 3 days before you now give them the first feeding of 0.1 mm.
Okay. Next stage.
Then from there, you nurse them in the nursery, in the hatchery, sorry, for 3 weeks. After which you now move them to the nursery. By the end of the first month, there are no more fries, they are now fingerlings.
Okay.
Because by the time you're moving them from the hatchery to the nursery, they are now post fries. When they stay in the nursery, within the first 1 month, you have fingerlings and post fingerlings. So now, from the post fries, you have the fingerlings. At fingerlings, some farmers like the fingerlings, like buying them from that point, so that they can now breed them together and grow them out. But most farmers prefer juveniles when their mortality rate is lower. Yes. So when you feed them to the juvenile stage, you can now start selling to the farmers.
Okay. That is the point that we are here at the back.
Yes.
Here. Okay. So continue from here.
So when you buy the juveniles, you introduce them to your earthen ponds.
We call it earthen pond.
Yes.
That's like a natural river kind of.
Yes.
Okay.
Because some people use tarpaulin ponds. Okay. Some people use concrete ponds.
Yeah.
So it depends on the one you have at your disposal.
Okay.
So when you introduce the earthen ponds, you now start feeding.
Okay.
Yes.
You feed them to a point that you could get to consumption stage, right?
Yes, to table size.
To what?
Table size.
Table size, okay.
Yes. That is a table size that weighing between 7.8 grams to 3, 4, 5 kg.
Okay.
Depending on how well you feed them.
Okay. That from this point now, you can now sell them for consumption, right?
Yes, to the end users.
All right. Thank you very much. To say Nigeria is endowed or blessed with arable lands is an understatement. From the north to the south, east to the west, fertile lands for agricultural purposes abound. Yet, the country is full of subsistence farmers, with the people producing and consuming rather than producing for export. Why is this so? What are the farmers and other players of the agri sector not doing right? Can Nigeria return to the yesteryears where agriculture was the sole foreign income earner? For answers, please join me, Ruben Okala, and my crew every Saturday at 10 o'clock in the morning on NTA International on DSTV channel 251 and GoTV channel 91. The program, Agri-Business Template, as we x-ray agri-business in its entirety.
For sponsorship and advert placement, feedbacks and inquiries, you can contact us through the following: email agricbusinesstelevision@gmail.org, website www.agricbusinesstv.org. On Play Store, it's ABTV. Facebook, Agribusiness Television. Our phone numbers are 0802 344 7703 or 0809 122 6917.
Think agric, think business. Madam, how lucrative is fish farming? Just as you say, agriculture is the next thing.
Yes.
It's getting louder now, and people are getting interested. So for fish farming, how lucrative is it? How can people make business out of fish farming?
Okay, let me start it from my own point of view.
Because the way I'm looking, I know that you're smiling to the banks.
Why would you believe that? I think I'm doing more of hard work. Okay. We see a lot of youths saying we need jobs, we need employment, we need work. And I see you sleeping, someone sleeping and waking up in the morning and say he doesn't have a job. Okay, let me make this easier. Having an adult fish, one adult fish and one male fish can make money for you.
Wonderful.
How? You take an adult fish, when you buy it in the market and you're eating the eggs, it just goes in as food, get digest, and it's just out. But when you take it to become money, it's a process of you hatching it to bring out fish. And at that point, you don't feed it so much. Now, if a fish, God gives us a fish that can weigh up to 60 kg, which 60 eggs, which a fish normally weighing 2 to 3 can get up to 60 eggs, and you hatch it, and you're able to get it to juvenile or fingerlings, and you sell it 25 naira. Multiply it by 60,000, that is ₦1 million naira, more than $1 million.
Wow.
So why would I sleep? If I knew I can have sleepless nights and gain money, then I should, I think, for a few hours go for the sleepless nights. That is right. One. So it's hard work. And I think that is money. Second stage, if you have enough money, you take it to the stage of growing it out to adults. Table size. If that is not enough and you think, okay, I can do better, then you go the table size into parent stock, where a kg you can sell it for 2,500. And any person that is interested in hatching can buy a fish weighing 2 to 3 kg, which is appropriate and which has to stay for like a year or two. And then you times 2.5 per kg times 3 kg. That is what a farmer needs if he wants to hatch. Yeah. And somebody is buying one fish for 7,000. I think that's also good money. If that is not enough, and you think when you were farming, you didn't have money, then you dry it and sell it like dry fish, which brings more income than any other stage of fish farming. So fish farming is lucrative when you're ready to work it out, sit down, plan it, then train yourself. Because there's no business that you go into and you don't count the costs.
That's right.
Or you don't train, or you don't know how the business functions. Because people also cheat you if you don't know how it works. And at the end, you see that you're losing the small money you've invested instead of getting it. Nigeria is exporting a large amount. The last research we made last year was over 70% of fish is coming back into Nigeria.
We are importing.
We are importing.
Rather, we are supposed to be exporting, but we are right now importing.
That means we are shorting, we are having... in fact,
it's telling on Nigeria's economy, certainly.
Yes, and that's why we're not, the economy is still low. Because we are not producing, we are taking in instead of giving out.
Now, madam, this question is very important to me and other youths who want to engage in fish farming. Of course, the problem might be funding, assistance, loans.
Yes.
You may not have received assistance or loan before you started.
True.
All right, but others who are not well to do,
yes,
like you, and they want to go into fish farming, how can government or well-to-do Nigerians assist them to go into fish farming?
Okay.
It's very important.
Okay. First of all, I must confess it's very difficult to get funding as a Nigerian. But we have other facilities, other organizations that are ready to help. I know of Bank of Agric, and I think we've partnered in the sense that they've told us to tell people to apply.
Okay.
Yes.
Are you a beneficiary too?
No, I'm not. But I'm just saying if somebody wants to go into it, it's not actually because they'll ask you for so many documents, you need to get documents ready. And then even if they want you to know that you've started. So the best way, what I'll tell you is that start something. They will ask you they want to know your interests. Do you have interest in it? And then what have you done for us to assist you? So before you start crying, they need to know you're hungry. And apart from being hungry, they need to know you're ready to eat. Or so your hand doesn't get tired of eating.
That's right.
So, but I think government has made, we have NISAL. NISAL is a place where people can take their complaints, or if they know you're doing something, they can partner with you. Bank of Agric can also partner.
How lucrative is fish farming? Can one make business, full-fledged, maximum business in fish farming?
Fish farming is very lucrative under the good practice, the best practice. Because when you are doing fish, for example, you stock 1,000 fishes, and you're able to feed them to 1 kg, and the kg is sold at 700 naira per kg. If one fish, you get 1 or 3 kg, you can multiply it, and then you know what it looks like. Because it's a game of numbers. The better your results, the bigger your pocket.
That's right.
And it's also hard work.
If everything is hard work.
It's hard work and commitment.
That's it.
So it's very lucrative, and I would employ youths to keep their packet sheds out there and come out and farm.
Yes.
When you close from your farm, you can have a cool shower and put on your packet shirts again.
Wonderful. I like that. Thank you very much. Madam, you're not just a fish farmer, but somebody who is engaged in agriculture, full-time agriculture.
Oh, okay.
Okay. You threw away your certificate and you are fishing agric now.
No, we don't show certificate.
Okay. Okay.
Okay.
Actually, what I want to ask is what is the potential of Nigeria when it comes to agriculture? Can agriculture replace petroleum? Can we make business, full business, maximum business out of agric in this country?
Well, I would say yes. And if you ask me again, I would say yes. Why? Land is everywhere. Water is everywhere. Petroleum, you find it in particular places.
That's right.
And then this land has a lot underneath it. And water has a lot. Nigeria is not only having catfish. We have tilapia and other fish that I think there are fish that are brought out from other countries and they go like carp fish in Jos. It's called carp. And then, so it's massive. If we can cut out children just watching movies, playing around, waiting for daddy and mommy to pay school fees, and daddy's head is hot trying to get it, I can say this surprisingly, that a child in secondary school can hatch.
Did you know that in AD 644, Arab scientists developed a windmill to pump water for irrigation? By the year 1000, Arabs introduced fertilizers to enrich farm soil. We have come to the end of today's program, Agribusiness Template. The program will be back the same time next week for another interesting edition.
For sponsorship and advert placement, feedbacks and inquiries, you can contact us through the following: email agricbusinesstelevision@gmail.org, website www.agricbusinesstv.org. On Play Store, it's ABTV. Facebook, Agribusiness Television. Our phone numbers are 0802 344 7703 or 0809 122 69 17.
I am Ruben Okala saying bye for now. Think agric, think business.